You can catch this fish on the beach or in the bay, but no matter where you hook them, you have to bow to the Silver King. Tonight, we're talking tarpon on the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Well, guys, May feels so good already, and as the weather heats up, so does the bite here on the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report. Rick, I know I'm super excited about this week's species, and so are many of our captains, but I know Dave's also pretty fired up about tarpon over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I caught it.
Nice catch, Bree.
Thanks, I've been
That's pretty good. I
practicing.
wanted to hit her in the head, though. That's
Oh.
what I
Well,
You were
that's
trying
not
to hit her in
gonna
the head?
happen.
Yeah, I was.
We'll talk about tarpon, Dave. Are you excited or
I'm
what?
not talking about tarpon. Rick Murphy's the tarpon king. That's who's going to be
right.
talking about carp. I'm stealing money tonight.
All right, well,
Asking questions.
Asking too many questions. Rick, I caught my very first, what am I doing with this? Here you go, Dave. You take that back.
Oh, thank you.
I caught my very first tarpon with you on Sportsman Adventures a while back, and I was in for such a surprise. I don't remember if any of you saw it, but I was screaming and super excited about certain things, and I mean, just their fight is unbelievable. And when you just look down into their mouths and you have their fingers in their lips, it's amazing.
You know, Bree, when you do the lip grab, it really
said,
gets
grab
real.
him like a
then.
man.
Yeah, grab him, hold on to him. But
like-
for sure, the poon, whether he's on the ocean, whether he's on the beach, whether he's in the bay,
Yeah.
to me, it's the ultimate inshore fish, and all our captains tonight are going to share that with us.
Yes, they are, and it's only appropriate our captain in the Flagler Construction Equipment Northwest region is first because I believe his pride enjoys catching those tarpon, and his charters are famous for those in the water shots, except today there was pretty sharky today. Jeff Hageman, it's your time to shine, buddy.
Tell you what, just like Rick said, they're my favorite to chase, and I pretty much spend 3 months out of the year strictly fishing for these guys. You couldn't ask for a better game fish. There's nothing else like them. They got gill ratting, head shakes, unreal jumps, long steering drag runs. You can catch them throughout my region. The small juvenile fish can be caught in residential canals and springs most of the year, but that big migration is in the summer months. And the best time to target those big fish is right now. You want to fish around the bridges, the beaches, the passes, grass flats. May through August is pretty much our season in our region and can stretch out a little further depending on water temperature. But you can catch them on spinning gear, plugs, fly. Baits like pinfish, thread fins, and crabs are the favorites for the live bait. As far as flies go, lemon drop over the sand, and cockroach or purple and black over the grass flats. Favorite artificial bait would be a DO8 bait buster or a 7-inch hoagie. As far as etiquette goes, etiquette's a big thing when you're tarpon fishing because you're usually fishing around a group of people. There's going to be other people around you. So be kind of considerate of your fellow anglers out there. Take your time. Don't run down the beach so hard. You're running over fish and not paying attention to what's going around. Being on a trolling motor or a push pole will get you in there and get you a stealthy approach to make a nice cast, and you'll catch more fish if you just take your time, look around, make sure your surroundings, and look for fish rolling because they could go down and then pop up a little bit later. You might be running over somebody else's fish that somebody else is looking at. So etiquette's a really big thing with tarpon. And I got a photo here with my hands full with that lip grab that Rick was talking about of a nice West Coast tarpon.
Wow.
That's a great
awesome.
shot, Hag. All right, let's go ahead and stay inshore. What else you got for me, bub?
Captain Jordan Todd of Saltwater Obsession Guide Service out of St. Joe Bay reports the trout and redfish bite right now is picking up pretty good. A lot of bait right now. We've moved down to the grass flats, and there's some big fish feeding on them like crazy. So early morning, you want to focus on those patchy sand grass bottoms and anywhere from 2 to 4 feet of water, where you can see the bait work on the surface. You want to throw a top water plug like a Rapala Skidder Walk or a Skidder V for both trout and reds. Or you can float a live pinfish under a popping cork with a really short leader. You want to keep that pinfish really tight to the surface, he says, to get those bites. Later as the day goes on, you want to move to the deeper grass flats and sand edges in that 5 to 6 foot of water. Change your lures a little bit to either a sinking twitch bait like a Rapala Shad Wrap or a twitching mullet. Also, baits like that Slayer Ink and the Paddle Tail and the Venice Glow and Houdini colors are both working really well. Or you can throw a live pinfish on the bottom with an 1/8 ounce split shot and a 2/0 VMC circle hook. And I've got a photo there of a nice upper slot redfish caught on our Rapala skitterbee on one of Captain Jordan's recent trips.
Looking good, Hag. All right, let's go do a little offshore fishing.
All right. Captain Joel Grant of Fish Daddy Charters out of Panhandle Beach reports a good offshore bite. The fishing's been getting better as the summer goes on. Eating up a lot of gag grouper right now in 20 to 40 feet of water, mostly fishing at live bottom and rocky bottom. Cut baits are working best. He's also catching some hogfish and grunts. The cobia bite in that same region, it seems to be good. Anchoring up, putting the chum bag out the back is producing some good cobia too while he's grouper fishing. And I got a photo here of Joel's boat with a nice Goliath grouper.
That's a nice big one there, bub. All right, what else you got?
Captain Harry Connor of Hook and Harry Charters out of St. Pete reports a good permit bite right now going on in the artificial reefs and wrecks in 30 to 50 feet of water. Dollar-sized crabs are the best bait, free-lined right off the back of the boat, or a small split shot right on the hook. Or if you can't get crabs, a large jumbo shrimp hooked on the tail on the same rig works really well too on occasion.
All right, thanks, Hag. Great report from the Flagler Construction Equipment Northwest region. I'm going to take a look at the hot spots. Captain Jeff says inshore snook showing up on the beaches and the passes, use sardines for bait, and then offshore groupers over the rock piles and ledges 55 to 85 feet of water break using a pinfish for bait.
Well, Rick, I think we both know that many Floridians' fondest pastimes is tarpon fishing in the Florida Keys.
Sure.
And guys, there's really no better captain to put you on them this season than Captain Randy Tao coming in strong.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, when we talk about tarpon, we're talking about a big area. The Keys are over 100 miles long, and we've got them right now from Key Largo to Key West. And depending on the conditions and the way you want to go about catching a tarpon depends where you go. Now, when we look at the upper Keys, we're kind of known for fly fishing up here and also bait fishing. And most of your bait fishing is going to be around the bridges with live mullet or crabs. And then throughout the Keys, going down to 7 Mile and Bahia Honda, they prefer more the crabs for the tarpon down there and not so much the mullet. But their backcountry fishing is really outstanding as well if you want to fly fish. Now, up this way, our fly fishing's on the ocean side. So when you have some good visibility and you've got the points and shorelines that you can anchor up on, right now the fish are migrating to the south. Nice big schools. I saw a school day before yesterday that probably had 500 fish in the school, and they're all going to the south. And we threw about 10 different flies, and we didn't get a bite yet. But I know they didn't get that big from not eating. We just didn't get it in the right place. But you're going to have a lot of opportunities with these fish right now coming down the shoreline. The weather looks great, and this time of year the fly fishing is the main thing. And if you want to bait fish, if you're not a fly fishing guy, that's fine. There's a lot of evening trips that the guys do here from 4 o'clock till dark. It's a great time to be on the water, and there's a lot of fish in the area right now. Last week we had a lot of wind. I was doing a lot of bait fishing because I wasn't going far, and the fish were around the base side of the bridges. And I've got a photo of a nice big tarpon Julio caught fishing with me in all that windy weather.
All right, what about some bonefish, Randy? You had any reports?
You know, the bone fishing is good in the Keys. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still have bonefish, but you really have to have a guide that knows where to be, when, and so forth. And these bonefish can be from Key Largo to Key West. And a lot of these guys that specialize in bonefish, they will travel. They'll put their boat on the trailer, and they'll travel wherever they need to be for the right conditions and tide to catch these bonefish. Now, an incoming tide is always a favorite, and the bone fishing up in the upper Keys has gotten to be where if you do it a lot, you know where they are. If you don't do it very often, you never see any. Like myself, I struggle with bonefish, but there's guys like Richard Black and Dave Dankard. These guys consistently will find bonefish on any given tide, and they're on them because they do it a lot. Another guy, Captain Jared Roscobb, I talked about him a couple of years ago. He's an upcoming young guy, and he's from another planet when it comes to finding fish, especially bonefish. He was fishing last week in the spring fly bonefish tournament, which I believe you won years ago with Doug Bierman.
Right.
So you know the tournament I'm talking about.
Yep.
He fished with his angler, Mark Richens, and not only did they catch 3 big bonefish, they caught 2 14-pounders, a 13-pounder. I've got a photo of Mark Richens with one of his 14-pounders and 7 releases.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
they had an all-time high point score in the bonefish tournament this year that's been going on for over 30 years, and they did it this year. So this guy's on the bonefish. He knows how to catch them, and they are around still.
All right, Randy, before we go any further, we're going to talk about the Navionics, and you're talking about the Tarpon heading south. Well, guess where they're going? They're going to run down to the Bay of Honda Bridge, and the key is, guys, that as we look at the next sonar map, the one thing that I see here is look at how we have this funnel. No matter where the fish hit in the backcountry side, they're going to funnel into the middle of the bridge. So remember that, look at the charts, and understand that the contours are going to actually show you where the fish are going to lay. All right, Randy, go ahead and let's give it to some more offshore stuff, bud.
You know, here we are. It's May. It's dolphin season, and the dolphin are around. And you've got to put your time in, obviously, like anything. There's a lot of weeds offshore right now, tons of scattered weed. If you troll in the middle of all those weeds, you're going to consistently get grass on your bait. You're going to get frustrated. If you get outside of those weeds, it's been about 600 to 800 feet of water. In that cleaner water, you're going to find some dolphin. You're not going to get in the weeds. And there's been some schoolies and some bigger 15 to 25 pounders mixed in as well. A lot of these fish are coming blind trolling, and there haven't been much bird action lately. But I have a photo of Christina Stackpole. She fished with me last weekend. She was the winner of last year's contest, and this is her dolphin she caught with me last weekend.
Her
All
dolphin
right, what
feet.
about the swordfish, bub?
Swordfish right now, 1,500 to 1,800 feet. They've been biting when the weather prevails. When that wind drops down, it's been pretty consistent. I've got a photo of Captain Nick Stanzik on his boat, the Broad-Minded, out of Bud Mary's, who is the absolute best at doing this, with a 350-pounder they caught a couple days ago.
Man, he is the
Crazy.
stud. That's for sure. That guy catches more swordfish than anybody I know. Thank you, Randy. Great report from the Florida Keys. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Inshore, tarpon. Look for them on the oceanside points and the shorelines for migrating poons. And then offshore, dolphin. Fish just outside the scattered weeds and troll ballyhoos and lures towards the south, Bree.
Well, Rick, we know there's always tournaments going on in the Florida Keys, so let's take a look at the latest and greatest, shall we? More than 40 species of fish are targeted during the Key West Fishing Tournament, continuing through November 30th. There's no entry fee, and participants receive citations and qualify for a variety of prizes. Some $25,000 in cash and prizes awaits the top anglers with the largest bull and cow combined at this weekend's Marathon Offshore Bull and Cow Dolphin Tournament. There are additional prize categories as well. The Mother's Day Dolphin Tournament in Marathon is a fun and festive one-day fishing tournament for the heaviest dolphin. Over $8,000 in cash and prizes have been awarded in past events, and proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity of the Middle Keys. At the Key West Co-Ed Mahi Masters, set for May 12th through the 14th, prizes are to be awarded to male and female angler teams scoring the highest total combined weight of 3 dolphin catches. Now, let's check in with Mr. Andy Newman and see what featured tournaments he's talking about this week. Go for it, Andy.
Well, hi guys. The 10th annual Nick Sheehan Dolphin Rodeo, set for May 5th through the 7th, raises scholarship funds to honor the memory of the Florida Keys student who passed in 2004. Hosted at Tavernier Creek Marina in Alamorada, the tournament awards cash prizes and a hefty $25,000 check to the angler catching a dolphin that beats the state record. More details at nicksheehan.com, and for more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, always go to flakeys.com.
Up next, we're jumping into the Southwest region and then seeing what rigs and techniques Dave for us has over at the CCA workbench.
Yeah.
Feeling kind of crabby there, Dave?
Yes, sir. Some of the best tarpon baits you got in the world. Rick's going to show us how to rig them up.
They sure work today.
We sure
Dave.
are.
Little
They did
crabbies.
work today. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Crabbies.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet. Q-Max, maximum saltwater protection. And Sea Sucker, get pumped.
This is the Silverado Special Edition.
This is one gorgeous truck.
Oh, did I say there was only one special edition? Because actually there's 5.
Nice. Strength and style.
Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get 16% below MSRP on select Silverado 1500 pickups in stock. That's over $7,900 on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower 4-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable 4-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower 4-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, guys. Let's now take a look at the FWC news and notes. If you're up in the Northeast region, May 13th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Fernandina Beach. May 20th, there's a boating course in Vero Beach. And June 24th, the kids fishing clinic in Cape Canaveral. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now it's time for Rigs and Techniques.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and Dave, you know, Rigs and Techniques is something we do every week.
Yes, sir.
And certainly tonight.
It's tarpon time, and you're the tarpon king. You caught how many tarpon today?
7.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man.
You know, most of the time people talk about tarpon, they talk about how many they jumped off.
Right.
Not how many they caught. So you did pretty dang good.
But you know what? Since circle hooks, our catch ratio has gone to 75%.
And that's amazing. And that's amazing. And you know, they work that way on all fish. I'll be honest with you. There's very few fish that you don't want to turn to the circle hook to catch. What we have here in this bucket is a lot of different kinds of baits for the tarpon. We got 3 different kinds. We got a mullet and a crab and some bigger shrimp. And we like to go through them here and show you guys how you rig each different one. Are you gonna be able to catch that mullet? He's a little peaked now, isn't he?
He's not peeking. I just went in there and slid it. All right, so Dave, on the mullet, I think one of the most important things is you gotta have a circle hook with a big gap.
A wide gap, for sure.
This is a small mullet. In some cases, it's not a finger mullet, obviously.
This would be
a good size mullet to use. But we're gonna go simply in his mouth, Dave, like so. Inside the mouth, and then right there where the tops of his cheeks come together inside his mouth, they actually comes to a V, and we're gonna just take the circle hook and pop it out the top of his head.
Oh boy.
And now what ends up happening, he can breathe, he can close his mouth, he can still flex his gills, but more importantly, we have a big gap so that when the tarpon comes up and eats him, now we're gonna drop back like you would do on a sailfish. When you're live bait fishing, yeah, well, we gotta want it in his mouth so that when we do go to hook him, it actually works really well. 9.0 is the size that I use. This is the 7385 VMC Coastal Black Hook.
Right.
Now, crabs are a whole nother situation. So if you grab me a crab, we want to use a 6.0 or a 7.0. Again, 7385
And that's
VMC.
about the size crab you're going to be using there?
This is a perfect size crab, a little bit bigger than the permit size. The permit size, I learned this from my friend Mark Croca, is the size that fits right here inside your hand like that. So that size or a little bigger is going to be good for tarpon, because so many times you might be casting to a rolling fish, so you're going to want something. But where we hook him, regardless of whether you're fishing him under a cork or whether you're sight fishing with a crab, throwing in the schools of fish, we're going to work this into the corner. We're going to break it out just like that. And when he eats, just simply reel.
Right.
Don't set the hook. Look
a
at
lot
him
of people
wiggling
do
there.
that.
Now, we use a cork also for if you're going to use a pinfish. It's the same rig. The difference is the cork, you're going to keep the pinfish from getting into the bottom. That's what that does. A pinfish, you hook him in the shoulder, and he's going to be digging, trying to get to the bottom because he doesn't like being down there.
Now, when you're fishing those crabs, how long do you let them free line out? I mean, do you keep letting it out and then reel it back up?
Live bait fishing for a tarpon, Dave. The way I like it is to keep your fish constantly traveling. So on this Akuma, I'm gonna leave the bail open. I'm gonna slowly feed line out. I'm anchored or I'm drifting, but I'm going down current in most cases. He's a traveling salesman, whether it's a pinfish, a crab, a mullet. As long as he's traveling, he's selling.
Right.
As soon as you stop him and you close the bail, he's only selling in a 10-foot area. Now, one other way that we fish for tarpon is we use a jig in the wintertime, like in Government Cut or some of the channels in the backcountry.
And a big shrimp.
Big shrimp, like so. And you're gonna come basically in the shrimp's mouth. Don't go into the black spots because that's
his
the
brain
area. Go in his mouth and then pop it out the top of his head like so. Now he can actually swim with the jig head, like this VMC boxer jig. He swims normal. And you know what I mean? It's like what they referred to in the old days as like being a troll right. He trolls
right
at the right level. You're gonna use 40 to 60 pound. If you're fishing around the channels in the Florida Keys.
Mono leader.
Yeah, fluorocarbon leader. If you're fishing in the Florida Keys and it's really clear and it's calm, you got to downsize, but the beauty of the circle hook is it's going to hook him and it's going to be outside, and most of the time.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it chafing off.
Yeah, because you're not rubbing on the leader.
Right.
Man, that was some good work, Dave. Thank
I
you
didn't
so
do nothing.
much.
You did it all. I like that. We need to do this again.
You want to talk about winding a man up and turning him loose?
Tarpon.
Wow.
Thank you.
Just
so
say tarpon.
excited. I've never heard Dave so
It's like me
quiet
going
over there.
squirrel to my dog.
All right, now
Get the squirrel.
Get it out, Dave. Are you done? Okay. Okay, guys, coming up Thursday, May 18th is the CCA Homestead Banquet and Auction at Schnebly Redlands Winery and Brewery. It'll be a fun-filled night full of auctions, raffles, open bar, and dinner. For more information, visit ccaflorida.org. I know Rick and I will be there, so we hope to see you guys there as well. Okay, Captain Ronnie Houston is now up in the Bell's Southwest region, so strap on in and let's hear what'll be on the end of your line this week. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, you know, in the Southwest region, the good thing about where we catch tarpon over here, they can be caught all year round, and they can be caught inshore and offshore. Now, generally, the fish start to show up depending upon how cold it is and how warm it starts getting from winter to spring. They can show up down towards the Highland Beach area as soon as February, maybe late March or April, and then start migrating up to the north and get up towards Boca Grande around June. But we had a warm winter this year, so the fish were already down here in February, and those guys are already catching fish and more showing up at the beginning of April. But at the moment, you want to concentrate on beaches, passes, wrecks, and bridge spans. You know, some of the areas up in the Charlotte Harbor area, Pine Island area, and Boca Grande area, but then also all the way back down the south on the outer beaches down to Marco. Now, you can sight fish for these fish in a variety of ways with flies, but also use a variety of artificial plugs, bucktails, swim baits, lip plugs, and a simple soft plastic paddle tail or shrimp. Now, in the rainy months, you concentrate on the spillways, brackish water, feeder creeks, as well as rivers, any like the Peace River, anywhere from there, I-75, all the way up to the east. But presently, live crabs, mullet, pinfish, shrimp, threadfins, and pilchards. And at times, those fish that get stubborn, maybe pressured, maybe it was windy, a barometric push, cut baits on the bottom. And all year round, whether it's cold or it's warm, you can always catch residential fish, especially at night, on any bridge span, most bridge spans, channels, docks, residential areas. So we have them all year round. The average size is 60 to 150. Fish up to 200 pounds are caught. Things are really starting to heat up in the northern end. And I've got a couple pictures of some tarpon that have just been recently caught up in the northern end. Danny Latham with a nice tarpon on the side of the boat, and Matt Haig with another fish off the boat. And like I said, things are hitting up. Guys are getting multiple hookups a day. Things have been pretty good up there. Tarpon fish has been great. Now, on the inshore side, you want to concentrate on the trout. Right now, Bull and Turtle Bay, fishing grass flats and potholes. You want to concentrate right now in depths of 18 inches to 4 feet of water. But one thing I want to recommend is it's better when you have a two-tide day. You get more water movement, and the fish seem to be feeding more. Up in the northern end, the tides are a little different. When you get those one-tide day where it's coming in all day or going out all day, yeah, granted, you might catch some fish, but the water moves slower. The fish aren't as aggressive. But you want to concentrate on potholes and troughs. Right now, with the live bait, the white bait up there right now, chumming live pilchards right now to concentrate on them. But, shallow running lipless plugs like the Twitch and Wrap or your Mirror Mirrodines have been working well. But you can simply use a Bass Assassin 4-inch paddle tail, a white or root beer. And I strongly recommend for the guy who's beginning and wants to locate them, please use noise-making corks with a shrimp or a pilchard. Average size of those fish right now are anywhere from about 16 to 23 inches. And like I say, watch those tides. Now, on the offshore side, permit fishing heating up, warm time of the year, and they've moved in a little sooner. Concentrate from Indian Key to Gordon's Pass, fishing wrecks, towers, and artificial reefs. If you're just strictly fishing for permit, it's more of a run and gun bite, guys. So you just might want to try one spot. Be patient because the fish are showing up in numbers. If that doesn't work, keep moving. Main thing is moderate weather. If it's too rough, forget about going. Number one bait has been live crabs, but dark-colored 4-inch swim baits have been working well as bright-colored bucktails and live shrimp. And also up on the offshore side, the red groupers. That bite still remains strong, guys, from Stump Pass to New Pass. Depths right now are 70 to 90 feet. Hard bottom and ledges is what you want to concentrate on, especially if you look on your bottom finder and you're marking big bait schools marking below. Simply drift in a locate or anchoring up using live pinfish, grunts, or cut herring, sardines, and squid. Fish are starting to move a little bit closer now that they're getting off spawn. Watch the weather. Get on out. The weather's good. Should be able to catch fish.
Thank you, Captain Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Southwest hotspots from the Bell's Reel Legends region. Inshore, redfish, Rocky Creek to Hickory Bay along the east wall, fishing mangroves on the higher stages of the tide. And then offshore, cobias, Marco to Sanibel, fish the wrecks 15 to 30 miles out using live large baits, swim baits, and chugging lures. And always watch that weather this time of year, Bree.
Yeah, watch that weather. All right, coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're headed to the east side and checking in with the southeast and northeast regions. So
Dude
get
looks
excited.
like he's hammered.
We'll be right back. Wow, I'm so proud of you, Rick.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, precision tackle and performance clothing since 1958. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I think it's time to change my battery. Now you do it.
Get AC Delco batteries at Bennett Auto Supply. Plus, get $10 off your first online purchase when you register at BennettAuto.com.
Bennett Auto Supply. Do it yourself, but not alone.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle. When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking.
10 best blah blah blah. 2015.
Only about 90 more to go.
That's a lot of awards.
Find your tag and get 16% below MSRP on select Malibu vehicles in stock. That's over $4,200 on this Chevy Malibu. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Well, welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, and the lovely Pamela from Chevrolet is with me. And you know, Pamela, it's not very often that I have to stand on the box.
Well, today's that day.
Good night. How tall are you, my love?
6 foot flat. And
Wow.
I made sure I didn't wear heels.
Well, I appreciate that, but you know
so
what?
I can make Rick feel comfortable today.
You did great.
Thank
And
you.
I thought I'd have some fun with that, and more importantly, I think I could have fun with this 2017 Equinox. Well, why don't you tell me about it? Mother's Day just around the corner. What a great gift.
Definitely great for your mother because it's sophisticated. But we like to call this an athletic design. So it has very sleek and lean and muscular features, as you can see.
Mhm.
Has a wraparound headlight, just like all the other Chevrolets in our portfolio as well.
Right.
And it's pretty cool because we have our 7-inch diagonal screen in the inside and an 8-inch on our Premier models. And some other features I want to just talk about is we have, if you're fishing and you have your fishing rod and your tackle box,
Right.
we have a lift gate in the back. So all you have to
Just
do
give it a
is
little
do
kick.
it with me. Kick,
Boom.
and it opens the back lift gate.
So tell me, speaking about the back, we want to tow vehicles sometimes. Does this car have that ability?
Now look, again, I just say it's sleek and it looks small to some, but yes, it does tow. Our turbo 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine will tow up to 3,500 pounds.
Whoa.
So it's perfect for any size or regular size boat.
And we have
that
a
you would be
diesel
towing.
motor that gets up to estimated 40 miles to the gallon.
40 miles to the gallon. That's our diesel, is 1.6 liter.
Wow.
4-cylinder engine as well. And it's something that we're very proud of because they redesigned the diesel engine and it's quieter than normal diesel engines would
Tell
be.
me quickly about the teen driver that we got going on here.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So you talk about mothers and buying this for their mothers. Mothers have children. We want to be able to track our children. So we do have the teen driver feature. And the parents can set the vehicle. And in that particular feature, they can make sure that the teenager is safe and sound, and when they have teenagers in their vehicle, the radio will mute if the teenagers don't have their seatbelt on.
I love it.
Not only that, when the teen returns home, they can go over a written report with the teenager as well to make sure that they're doing all the correct things where they're on the road.
You know what? It sounds like to me that the 2017 Equinox is for everybody, everywhere. What do you say?
Perfect. The 2018 Chevrolet Equinox is for everybody, everywhere.
Thank you. All right, where we going now, Bree?
Chevrolet's on fire. All right, let's see what's up in the Casa Vieja Southeast region where the tarpon bite never gets old, but I knew someone who does. Happy birthday, Jimbo. Whoop, whoop. Haha.
Yeah,
You
but
laughing?
you know, I'm getting younger. I'm not getting older.
I was like, oh, are you?
At least every time I look in the mirror, that's what I think.
I'm just kidding.
But,
You're beautiful. Let's see. Let's get on with your report.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good. Okay, so let's talk about tarpon here. Enough of that old stuff. There's no shortage of tarpon here in the Southeast region. We got some resident fish that can be found year-round, and then in February through June, we have a push of migrating tarpon. Then all of the inlets and their adjoining beaches, those are all tarpon hotspots, as well as the deeper holes and the lit bridges of the intercoastal waterway. Now, their feeding changes, they change with the seasons, and right now a silver dollar-sized live crab or a 6 to 8 inch mullet, that is the bait of choice. Then in the winter months when the shrimp are running, a live shrimp, that's what's going to work the best. Other popular baits are live pinfish and top water and surface swimming lures such as the Rapala magnums, jigs, soft plastics, and flies. 12 to 20 pound tackle is adequate for most tarpon, and most of the tarpon that we see here in the southeast region are in the 60, 80, well, in the 40 to 80 pound range, and we like to use a 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon leader and 6.0 to 8.0 circle hooks when using those live baits. In the inlets and around the bridges, the best tarpon fishing is going to be early in the morning and then late in the afternoon into the evening. In the inlets, look for the color changes or the tide lines or rolling fish, and then marks on your depth machine and drift your live baits through those areas. And then in the inlets, any tide can be good as long as that water is moving. Incoming, outgoing, it doesn't matter. Around the bridges, the fish will usually be feeding along the shadow lines on the outgoing tide. And then this is also the time of the year that the fish are migrating to the south, and you can find them on the oceanside flats from Government Cut south to Angelfish Creek. And those fish can be baited with live crabs or with fly tackle using crab pattern flies. And like I said, the average size fish in this area is 40 to 80 pounds, but 100-pound fish are not uncommon. And then staying inshore, not going too far from the tarpon, there has been some good snook fishing going on in the inlet and also around the lit bridges and docks of the Intercoastal Waterway. Most of the bites are going to be on live baits, herring and pinfish are favorites, or whatever bait's the most abundant in your area is going to work well as well. You want to drift the jetties and ledges of the inlets using a Jupiter rig, and the best fishing is going to be in the evening and preferably on the outgoing tide. If there's no live bait on board, try bouncing flare hawk jigs along the bottom or trolling Rapala magnums with a red head and a white body. And around the bridges and lit docks, drift your live baits or work artificials through the shadow lines on the outgoing tide.
All right, let's go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Moving offshore, yeah, I got you, man. As of May 1st, the grouper season's open, and there should be plenty of hungry black gag and red grouper waiting to be caught. One of the best ways to put some grouper in the box is by trolling over the main reefs and patch reefs in 15 to 30 feet of water with Rapala magnums or with a double hook ballyhoo or bonita strip on a long leader behind a number 2 planer. With the lures, try trolling at around 4 knots. If you go any faster, they don't seem to pull right. But with the planer, you can go a little faster and you can cover a lot more ground. And I wouldn't go with anything less than 50-pound tackle because you definitely need to be able to pull these fish off the reef. Anything less, they're going to get you rocked up. Out in the deep water, black jack and red groupers can be found on good reef bottom and wrecks in the 90 to 250-foot range using live pinfish, blue runners, and speedos. Those are all great bait choices, along with jig and ballyhoo combinations or butterfly jigs. If the current is light, anchoring up close to the structure, that allows you to lay the bait right on the bottom, and that gives any weary grouper some time to think about eating. Otherwise, drift over the structure and hope that you get a bite. The only downside to using those big live baits is that the amberjacks love to eat them, but generally if the jacks are there, and so are the groupers. On the reef, the sizes are in the 8 to 15-pound range, and out in the deep water, most of those fish are in the 15 to 20-pound range. And I got a photo here, and this is a nice-sized grouper that got bit in half by a shark, and what was left weighed 54 pounds.
Wow.
Offshore,
yeah. That's nuts.
Came in easy with no tail. But staying offshore, there's still some nice-sized dolphins coming through in anywhere from 120 to 900 feet of water, especially on these days when we have some good east wind. The dolphin have been chasing a flying fish to the south, which means they're moving really fast, and they're definitely tough to get in front of. But frigate birds have been pointing the fish out first and trolling rigged ballyhoo. Small lures under the birds have been getting those bites. Or try to get lined up on the south side of the birds with the live baits and wait for the fish to find those liveys. On the flyer, we've been spotting the fish from the tower, pitching live herrings in front of them. And then they haven't been in big schools, but in doubles or triples. The bites definitely seem to taper off in the afternoon.
All right, we got to go, Jimbo. You're a little long. We got to take a look at the southeast hotspots from the southeast region inshore. Tarpon and snook. Look for the nighttime tarpon and snook using live or artificial baits in your local inlet. And then offshore, mahi, sailfish, blackfin tuna, kingfish. Fish live baits in 100 to 200 feet of water for a mixed bag of all of the above.
You're a bully, Rick. Okay, so
listen, man,
for the past couple weeks,
not very often he's long.
All right, well, it's his birthday. Let
or
it go.
Me tall.
Okay, true. For the past couple weeks, we've been talking about the CCA Star Tournament that's going to be coming up, and we've released a bunch of fish all over the state. And who released some?
Reggie, my little man, Ridge. Also, Charlie Johnson from Pathfinder Boats. He released some on the East Coast, and then Ridge, just as of yesterday, released 5 in Biscayne Bay. So he is the secret to the key to catching one in the bait, and his lips are sealed.
His lips are sealed. That's right, Rick. When you enter the CCA Star Tournament, there are $500,000 in prizes and scholarships to be won in 101 days of fishing starting May 27th. Make sure you get registered because there are 14 additional divisions with inshore and offshore species. Really, there's nothing to lose, right?
That's right.
That's right. All right, well, if you tuned into our trout ski show last week, you might have seen this Northeast captain make a cameo fill-in host for Rick, which Rick, I must say, he just did a wonderful job. Did you have fun, Tommy?
I heard that.
It was a great time. Thanks for having me down there.
We enjoyed having you. Let's go.
You know what? Tarpon are definitely one of my favorite obsessions, and I can't wait until they start to show up here in the strike zone Northeast region. You know, there have been a few tarpon sightings, and I even saw a few big ones rolling along the beach this morning. So as it warms up just a little bit more, we're going to be able to get out and really target those fish. Now, we have a great tarpon fishery here all summer long and into the early fall months. We get some big migrating fish right along the beach, feeding on pogies during the summer, and then the mullet during the fall run. Now, one of my favorite ways to catch tarpon here is to fish behind the shrimp boats. When those shrimpers dump their bycatch, you're going to find tarpon, along with a ton of big sharks, in a feeding frenzy on what's essentially just a big chum line. Now, I like to drift with the chum and sight fish the tarpon as they eat the dead fish off the surface. It's one of the few ways you can sight fish tarpon in my region. And you can also fish for tarpon around the pogie pods along the beach. Use a 7 to 10-aught VMC circle hook, depending on the bait size, and free line or float a live pogie around those bait pods. And you can also fish a bait under the pogie pods, just use enough weight to get the bait to the bottom. Sometimes that's where you get the most bites. Now, we have some huge tarpon here in the 150-pound plus range, but the average beach fish is going to be somewhere between 60 to 100 pounds. Now, we also have a good population of smaller tarpon in the canals throughout the region. The Palm Coast canals have quite a few 10 to 30-pound tarpon rolling around right now. Now, a big live shrimp or a mud minnow under a float is going to work really well for those smaller tarpon. Also inshore, you know, we have the perfect topwater plug tide this weekend, and with the water warming up every day, the redfish have been fired up and ready to chase those plugs. High outgoing water is going to have the bait and the redfish right up against the grass lines in areas like Mill Cove and Chickapit and Jacksonville, as well as the back of Casacola and Stokes Creek in St. Augustine. Now, I've talked about the skitter walk last couple of weeks, and we're still doing really well with that plug in the mullet and chrome colors. Now, once the sun gets up a bit and the tide gets low, you can find those reds in the same areas pushed out along the oyster bars and in the deeper bends of the creek. A live finger mullet or a mud minnow on a fish finder rig or a quarter-ounce jig head is going to be a go-to. Now, there have also been some big reds caught at the Volano Bridge this week. Just fish the bottom with either cut mullet or blue crab with a big circle hook for those big bridge redfish. Now, I got a photo here. This is Alex Zaharias with a nice redfish that he caught with me on that topwater Rapala skitter walk I've been talking about.
Nice photo.
Nice photo, Tommy, as always. Let's go offshore, big man.
All right, you know, the mahi bite has continued to be great this week. We've had some pretty snotty conditions offshore, but hopefully things are going to settle down a little bit over the weekend. I know there's a lot of guys chomping at the bit to get out there. I spoke to Captain Robert Johnson from JodyLynnCharters.com, and he tells me they've been doing really well, just trolling right along the ledge with medium-sized ballyhoo, with sea witches and some chuggers. Now, he says what you do want to look for current edges, but he said he's been doing a lot of open water fishing, and he's catching a bunch of those mahi. Robert says daisy chain teasers are a great idea, and don't forget to keep moving when you get a bite. There's a good chance you're going to hook up another fish. And I got another photo. This is a monster 62-pound mahi that Captain Ryan Leary from Jody Lynn Charters caught this past week out of St. Augustine.
Wow.
Yum.
Staying offshore, guys, you know, the blue marlin has started to show up in better numbers. I spoke to Captain Trey Jones from Got 'em on Charters, and he tells me this time of year, those blue marlin show up because they feed on those mahi I just talked about, and they like the water temps where they're at right now in those low to mid 70s. Now, Trey said to target them, you're going to want to find the blue water, that really deep cobalt blue water, and bump up your gear to that 50-pound class. You're going to want to troll larger ballyhoo and chuggerheads or lures like a Moldcraft wide range. Now, he likes to speed up a bit to 7.5 knots for the baits and even up to 9 knots for some of those lures. I've got one last picture. This is my buddy Joe Nowicki from the Boat Double Play with the winning Blue Marlin from the 45th annual Blue Water Tournament this past weekend. They won the Lady Angler, Billfish, Marlin, and the overall division.
Wow.
Fantastic job, guys.
Congratulations, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Northeast hotspots from the Strike Zone Northeast region. Inshore, redfish and black drum on either side of the low tide. Fish live shrimp on a jig in the bigger creeks like Casacola, Stokes, and Robinson in St. Augustine. And then offshore, mahi, tuna, sailfish from 140 feet out to the ledge. Troll the edges and the weed lines.
Okay, if you're planning on a little hook set land action in the Central West region and a little new product swag to add to your collection, don't move a muscle because all that and more is coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
I need a little gingham hat.
Davy Poppins.
I do. I need a little something.
Singing in the rain? Well,
I don't know.
You look
Can you
so
sing sugar?
You look cute.
No, I can't sing.
Oh, come on. We'll get him to sing. All right, we'll be right back, guys.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Navionics, we start where the road ends. Soft Science, supreme comfort footwear. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Real legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 Offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Hey, how do you like your contender? How do I like my contender? What's not to like? Dude, I just saw a contender, and man, I gotta give me one.
Well, here's where the CCA Workbench toy store is,
We're
Dave.
showcasing new products.
Absolutely.
It's a new product showcase, and we're going to showcase them.
So what do we got here, Bo?
Well, these are
really attractive.
They're very nice, aren't they? These are sport fish reel covers.
Right.
And that's where they come from, sportfishreelcovers.com. And, you know, she makes, it's a girl that used to work with Guy Harvey, and she makes 7 conventional sizes, you know, from, like, I think 15 wide all the way up to 80 wides, 3 flies, 3 spinners, 3 bait casters. She makes whatever. If you've got a reel, she's got a case that'll fit it. And what you do is you put these things on when you're going in or coming out, or to store it, to keep the salt off of it.
Got it.
You know, after you wash them down, you can put these cases on. You don't have to worry about salt getting on them, and you know they protect your reels. You know, reels, you know, nowadays cost a lot of money, and with all their anodized finishes and stuff.
There was one thing that I really liked about the Fly one.
Yeah.
Is
the way that opens all the way up.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because, you know, so many times there's not just one size fly reel.
Exactly.
You know, so
she makes a lot of different ones too. Our next product over here is this saltwater assassin, the salty snack. And this is a bait that they designed especially to catch big trout. This is a big trout bait. And you know, it's got a solid body to give it some weight so you can cast at a good distance. It's got the little ribs on the outside that, you know, give a little pulse.
That's right.
When you move it, it sends out vibrations, and a nice wiggly tail with a chartreuse on it to get their attention. And you know, you rig that thing weedless like it is right there with the hook that comes with it. You know, you're going to be able to throw that into some really nasty junk and pull some big trout out with it.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. The salty snack.
I think redfish and snook are going to annihilate this as well.
I'm sure they will. All right, this next thing we got here is called the Rod Defender. And a fellow up where I live in Florida, I mean in Orlando, he designed this to protect your rod guides. And you know, it's a telescoping protector. You know, it's made out of the tough plastic, and it comes, you know, attaches on here. And you'll notice this rod, which I'm treating terribly, has a guide missing, and that's what this thing is to, you know, made to keep that from happening. It's got one, the guide's not missing, but the inlet.
Oh, it's broke.
Yeah, it's broken. And I have a whole corner full of rods with little eyes out. And if you've got some of these rod defenders, you know, they collapse. They come in all different sizes, even for big, you know, for your big game stuff, offshore stuff.
Nice carrying case.
Yeah, you can carry it with this as well. You can carry 4 or 5 of them in there because they got that thin handle. I imagine you can get it. RodDefender.com.
And what do you got next?
This is the Always Shady. And what's really cool about this thing...
Pretty appropriate for the workbench.
Yeah, it is. And what this thing does, look at this. It's got a 63-inch umbrella, but it comes with a ram mount that you can put underneath your seat. Like if you have a helm seat, you can take the helm seat off, and this, you know, comes with a template that you can just drop this bracket on.
Now, how does it attach to this?
Well, it's got a ram, you know, these ram
the
balls.
Old ball and socket.
Yeah, and you tighten that thing down, and it's fully adjustable. You can put this thing however you want to make it. And you can put this, like you said, this is the chair bracket, but you can mount this ram anywhere. You know, you can put it in a canoe. You know, you could put this thing on a gunnel, wherever you need shade. You know, if you want to sit in a spot that's got shade, which shade's in short supply a lot of time when you're out on a boat, this is a great thing to have.
Good job, man. You know, somebody who's really bright in this studio is the lovely Bree, so she might need one of those.
Wow, so many compliments being thrown my way. Okay, Captain Jeff Page in the StarTron Central West region is definitely no stranger to the poon, and he's gonna tell you how to make friends too. Ain't that right, Page?
That's right. Captain Rick, I'm glad you're back. Way to go, Team Coast to Contender last week. Woo. Good result.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, man. Tommy Derringer did a great job, though. And you know what? In the StarTron Central West region, we have no shortage of tarpons, nor of ways to catch them. Starting in May, right about now, most of the action in my region is in the Gulf, from big schools of fish in our larger inlets and passes like world-famous Boca Grande Pass to the south, Egmont Pass to the north, along with Passage Key. The pass guys are drifting crabs as well as anchoring up and using chunk bait with cut thread fins or cut ladyfish. Along the beaches, we like to spot schools of slow-rolling tarpons and approach with our electric trolling motors, casting live free-line crabs or thread fins ahead of the schools. If that isn't working too well, we'll switch over to a corked pinfish, a method you've taught me about, or corked thread fin or pilchard. And I like to run my cork, Rick, a good 5 or 6 feet up from the 8 or 9/0 light wire Demon Mustad circle hook I'm using. And I try using 60-pound fluorocarbon or lighter for best hookup ratio. And we get into the later summer months and fall, we look for spawn bunches of tarpon to push up into the bays and rivers from the Mayaca and Peace River to upper Tampa Bay to the north. Look for the fish gorging on big mouthfuls of glass minnows, Try throwing a corked pinfish or a DOA bait buster in and around the schools. All in all, we look for 2017 to be a great year for the Silver King. I got a photo tonight of longtime client Mark Douglas with a nice tarpon he got with me.
Great photo, Paige. All right, tell me about some other
Trout
inshore
fishing.
species. There you go.
All right, we got good trout bite on the grass flats off Emerson Point, as well as off Buttonwood Harbor and Longbar Point in Sarasota Bay. I know Dave was just talking about the salty snack. That's a great bait, as well as the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad in the Mama 14 carat pattern on a 1/4 ounce Silver Assassin jig head. Been getting the job done real good. Or you can try throwing the live target 1/4 inch gold glitter shrimp under a popping cork as well. Got a photo tonight of my wife, Diane Page, with a nice Central West speckled trout.
Nice. What a pretty picture. All right, what else you got for me
Going
offshore?
Blackfin tuna, Rick. Out of nowhere they've appeared, and guys all over the whole region are catching them. All the boys from Cortez north to Bunce's Pass have been wrecking the blackfins in as close as 50 feet of water over the same structure that the permits are holding on. What they've been doing, Rick, is they've been getting set up over the structure, the hard bottom, and then chumming the tunas up with a mixture of cut bait and live pilchards, and then casting live free-line pilchards at the tunas blowing up. The tunas are averaging 8 to 15 pounds. I got a photo tonight of Miss Ashley Wiggins, boyfriend of Captain Will Osborne out of Cortez. And my final species, kingfish, still good kings, holding over a lot of that same hard bottom that the tunas are on, and wrecks in 30 to 50 feet of water. Guys have been trolling chartreuse X-Crap 20s or using free line threads. Real quick, don't forget, next Thursday I've got my second Anglers Fisherman's Workshop at Sunset Chevrolet in Sarasota at 6:30 p.m.
All right, great report from the StarTron Central West region. We're going to take a look at the Daiquiri Deck Central West hotspots inshore. Snook, the nighttime bite is strong on the outgoing tide along Snook Alley in Venice, and then offshore permit, 20-pound plus permits are taking free line crab pass crabs on the wrecks and reefs in 7 to 9 mile out range off a Longboat Key.
Okay, be prepared to get your bow on in the Panhandle and Eastern regions because we got some hot off the press tarpon reports coming your way only on the Chevy Florida
Insider Fishing Report.
There we go. Missed you, Rick.
Missed you.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
This is the Silverado Special Edition.
This is one gorgeous truck.
Oh, did I say there was only one special edition? Because actually there's 5.
Nice. Strength and style.
Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get 16% below MSRP on select Silverado 1500 pickups in stock. That's over $7,900 on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Takeuchi equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Takeuchi, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Takeuchi sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Pros know Takeuchi. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations or visit us on the web at www.flaglertakeuchi.com.
Remember, for weekly reports from our 9 captains, you can go to our website at ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Official Insider and Captain Rick Murphy.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, Rick, I think I was right when I said tarpon is one of our captain's favorite fish to catch, and our Yeti Panhandle region captain is no exception. Hey, Pat Deneen, how you doing?
I'm good. I tell you what, Bree, there's no doubt tarpon is my favorite inshore species to fish for. And we've had them in fishable numbers pretty much May through August. The fish start showing up in Apalachicola and the Big Bend early to mid-May, so there's a few fish showing up there right now. And then throughout the Panhandle, they're going to fill in, through the end of May all the way through June and July as they migrate west along our beaches. Most of the tarpon fishing in the Panhandle occurs along these beaches. They're also targeted in Apalachicola Bay as far inland as East Point, and then also in Pensacola Bay, particularly in the late summer months. In the clear water along the beaches, a fluorocarbon leader as light as 40 pound is needed to get the bite, but you can use a heavier leader in the bay, particularly in the muddy waters of Apalachicola Bay. And along the beaches, they're feeding on cigar minnows, herrings, and other small bay fish. While in Apalachicola, the menhaden are the primary bait. You do not need a boat to fish for tarpon in the Panhandle. There's probably more tarpon hooked and caught off of Oak Cliffs Island Pier on a daily basis than are hooked and caught by boats on a daily basis up here. Soft swim baits are the lure of choice off the pier. While if you're on a boat, the Hoagie soft plastics are very popular. Tarpon sizes in the Panhandle, they range from very small, 5 to 10 pound fish, back in the bays to 200 plus pound fish along the beaches. And there's a photo of Gary Finch with a pretty typical tarpon from our beaches. We caught that fish last summer off of Santa Rosa Island. So
I love the fact that you got that fish in the water, holding him that way, Pat. Great picture. All right, tell me what else you have inshore.
Rick, inshore, I've been hearing some really good speckled trout reports throughout the Panhandle. And I seldom fish for speckled trout, but I still managed to scratch out a nice catch last week in Choctawhatchee Bay. Captain Terry McGowan in Panama City, he reports similar fishing going on over there. He's finding fish on the flats and also at the mouths of the bayous, basically where the shallow water from the bay rolls down into the deeper water of the bayou. A live shrimp or a DOA shrimp under a popping cork is the go-to rig for the numbers. But if you're looking for the bigger fish, a live croaker or a finger mullet, either free line or fish under with a lightly weighted Carolina rig, that's going to appeal to those bigger fish. Similarly, a topwater plug like a mirror lure top dog or a skitterwalk is often the one that's going to catch the biggest fish of the trip. And if you're fishing that topwater bait, don't set the hook when you get a bite. Just keep working it until you feel the weight of the fish and then bend the rod. There's a lot of legal 15 and 20 inch fish around right now, and there's also quite a few of those 20 plus inch springtime females. So trout fishing has been pretty good. If you want to move offshore, it's been pretty windy and rough up here in the Panhandle. I've heard the same down in South Florida, so I guess we're all dealing with the same stuff. But there's not a lot of guys going offshore. I did speak with Captain Tony Davis of the Anastasia in Destin, and he managed to fish several days this past week, and he reports some real nice catches of vermilion snappers, fish in natural bottom and wrecks in 130 to 150 foot of water. He said it's tough getting through the red snappers and the triggerfish to get to the mingo snappers, but they're down there and they've been catching some good sized ones. 2-hook chicken rig baited with cut squid or a minnow is the way to go for targeting the beeliners. If you want to look for the bigger ones, slip sinker with a small live bait is the way to go. And Captain Tony reports catching quite a few of them in that 3 to 4 pound range. And that's probably our equivalent of the yellowtail snappers. Those are some really good eating fish. And then staying offshore, the king mackerel are still biting pretty well. We had a tough time catching them today, I'm going to be honest, but they have been around in pretty good numbers. There's plenty of fish being caught just outside the inlets, along the buoy lines, off the area piers, and also over some natural and artificial bottom and 65 plus feet of water. Before the winds picked up, we used the Minn Kota anchor function, got on the top of some natural bottom and just free-lined cigar minnows and had a really good catch. Use a sabiki rig to load up on the bait right outside the inlet, or visit your bait boat and get a scoop. Stinger rig, free line is pretty much the way to go. Fish 60 to 65 foot depth. If you're not getting them there, go out a little deeper to 80 to 85 foot depth. You really shouldn't need to go more than a few miles from your inlet. Start shallow, work your way out. You're going to find the fish. The kings are running 10 to 15 pounds, and the piers are catching some 20-plus pounders.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, redfish, big reds are moving on the tide in Panama City Pass using live baits on the bottom. And then offshore, tunas, wahoos, and billfish. Pretty blue water offshore of the edge. And guess what? We're going to troll ballyhoos and lures for the tunas and the wahoos and the billfish.
Okay, I think that sounds pretty good. If you're planning on going to the beach anytime soon in the East region, make sure you bring some crabs because so are the tarpon. And you also might see a Captain Mike Holiday in a Speedo somewhere too.
What?
I don't know, just thought I'd throw that in there. Maybe,
That's
you never know.
Funny. Well, you know, Bri, our tarpon migration runs basically now through the second week of July. And during that period, the fish are moving north up the coast, or pouring out of the Keys, working their way up the coast, stopping along our beaches, and some of the fish are going to move inside the inlets and become residents throughout the summer. So for the next 10 weeks, we'll have tarpon to throw at in places like Big and Little Mud Creeks, the moorings, the Harbor Branch Channel, up in the Loxahatchee and St. Lucie rivers, as well as, all the inlets will have fish. And the migrating fish are covering a lot of water. So they're really hungry. They're basically garbage cans. They'll eat just about anything they can catch. On the beach, live crabs, mullet, and threadfins are all good. If you want to throw flies, dark colors early, bright colors in the middle of the day. For lures, those floating diving swim plugs and soft plastics like a 7-inch saltwater assassin in pearl color. Put it on a 1/8 ounce jig head, fire it out in front of the fish, and just kind of let it drop, and they'll eat it on the way down. For those arbitrarily rolling fish on the inside, live mullet, threadfins, and a Houdini-colored 4-inch sea shad are the way to go. Those fish will go in range from anywhere from 10 to 50 pounds inside, maybe even bigger as we get into the summer, and then 80 pounds on up on the beach. I got a photo there. That's Captain Chris Britton of Jensen Beach. That's a tarpon he caught inside the St. Lucie Inlet, and that fish ate a live threadfin on the incoming tide. The other thing we got going, the most consistent fishing in my region right now, is for snook. There's fish in the Ermine River down in Palm Beach, along the seawalls of the intercoastal waterway, basically from Lake Worth all the way up to Hope Sound. There's fish in the Loxahatchee River, around the bends in the river, on the shorelines of the North and South Forks of the St. Lucie River. There's fish in Taylor Creek, around the mouth of Taylor Creek, feeding on mullet, and around all the inlets. So if you like to snook fish, this is the time to get out on the water. Up in the rivers, the fish are focused on mullet, so you can throw topwater plugs, swimming plugs, die dappers, and of course, a live mullet. Around the inlet, the focus is more on pilchards and other whitebait species, as well as shrimp. So you want to throw, more of the shad body type bait. So a saltwater assassin in the 4, 5, and 6-inch shads in copper juice or Papa Smurf, and even Houdini's a good color. Live shrimp, threadfins, and pilchards are going to be money in the middle of the day. And the best fishing by far is going to be on the outgoing tide around the inlets. And I have a photo there. That's Gus and Nick with Fernando Stalker. They caught that fish with Fernando Stalker of Sea Stalker Charters in Stewart, and that fish ate a live threadfin.
All right, let's go offshore, Mike.
Well, despite all the sharks off Jupiter, the first king mackerel schools are starting to show. Every May, the kingfish school off northern Palm Beach and southern Martin counties. Fish are scattered right now throughout that entire region, and this sort of coincides with the southeasterly winds and the appearance of Spanish sardine schools, threadfin schools, and pilchard schools all moving in closer to shore. The best kingfish action is going to be off the Juneau Pier in 80 to 120 feet of water, but places like the Loran Tower Ledge have been hot lately. The 6 Mile Reef's been hot. The Junk Hole up in Jensen Beach will have some fish. And on those westerly wind days, which we'll have some this weekend, look for the kings to charge the beach, particularly the big ones, in areas like the Kingfish Hole off Hope Sound, the St. Lucie Power Plant, and around North Beach and Fort Pierce. Target those fish with live baits like a Spanish sardine, a threadfin, a mullet, or a pilchard. If you're looking for the big ones, goggle eyes, blue runners, ladyfish, even a small bluefish on a number 3 wire, that'll get the bites. Average king mackerel region is going to be 12 to 20 pounds, fish to 44 pounds caught this week. And then the other side, the mutton snapper bite's the best I've seen in several years. It's the most consistent action right now is coming in 60 to 90 feet of water, places like the 6 Mile Reef, the Loran Tower Ledge, the ledge off Palm Beach. We got that full moon coming up, in about another 10 days or so. So we'll see a steady increase in the numbers and the size of those fish as they start to gather to spawn. You'll also find them below the kingfish schools where they eat the scraps that sink to the bottom when the kings are feeding. Water clarity's been very good, so you definitely want to go with a 40 to 60 foot leader made from 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon, 4.0 to 6.0 VMC tournament circle hook. Anything like a Spanish sardine, live or dead, or grunt plug is going to work on those fish.
All right, let's talk about the bass quick, man.
Well, water levels are really down on Okeechobee. That's got the bass concentrated and pushed to the outside edges of the Kissimmee grass. There's also fish on the hydrilla patches in the main lake. I was talking to Captain Mike Schoen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He's telling me the bluegill are spawning to fish crankbaits, topwater plugs, or worms with chartreuse in the tail. Kings Bar and the North Shore around the Peppergrass also have fish. Average trip right now is 35 to 40 fish.
Great report, Mike. Very thorough. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the East Region hotspots. Mike says triple tail on the markers of the Indian River between Jensen Beach and Fort Pierce. Use live shrimp and a chartreuse jig on those channel markers. And then offshore, dolphin and blackfin tunas in 180 to 300 feet of water from Hobe Sound to Jensen Beach. Use trolled ballyhoo or live baits.
Well, guys, if you're not getting pumped to be on the water this weekend, I don't know what to tell you because I know we are. And if you Central Easterners aren't quite excited, don't worry because we're coming to you next. We'll be right back. Stop science.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. The world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA. Conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Flagler Construction Equipment. Your exclusive Takeuchi dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing. When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that takes the road less traveled than the road less traveled, and finds the comforts of home extremely uncomfortable. This is for that you.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
2016 JD Power Highest Quality Ranking.
10 Best blah blah blah. 2015.
Only about 90 more to go.
That's a lot of awards.
Find your tag and get 16% below MSRP on select Equinox vehicles in stock. That's over $4,700 on this Chevy Equinox. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Hi, I'm Robert Shamler with JL Marine, and your power pole tip.
Today we're going to talk all about the brand new remote controllers with the Sea Monster 2.0. Now, the remote controllers and hydraulic pumps communicate using our Sea Monster 2.0 operating system. The controllers also come in a new color scheme, so you can easily tell the difference between the new controllers and the old controllers. The standard 2-button key fob and the advanced dash switch still come standard with all new power pole anchors. The optional foot switch has also been upgraded to the Sea Monster 2.0. And all of our remotes feature that two-way communication with the pump, so your signal is much stronger and faster than ever before. The new remotes with Sea Monster 2.0 automatically update through the Sea Monster app. And now, Sea Monster 2.0 technology is not compatible with your older anchors, so your existing remotes will not work with a 2.0 system and cannot be upgraded to 2.0. Now, one of the questions we get all the time is, do I need dual power pole anchors or just one single power pole anchor? And we're going to talk all about that in your next tip. And that's your power pole tip.
Those hands sure looked familiar, Rick.
Yeah.
I think you might need a little manicure.
They didn't get loved that day.
You don't have to paint them, just make them nice. All right, continuing this beach party up the East Coast into the Bell's Central East region, Captain Jim Ross is online with something you may want to hear.
Oh, most definitely, Bree. You know, anglers in my region are gearing up for tarpon because the beach run is getting ready to start, and those adult fish are going to be coming up here. And I tell you what, you know, if you're here May through July, that's typically our best time of the year for tarpon. And then again in September and October when the fall mullet run starts. Now, generally, our beach tarpon like to eat live pogies, live greenies, and mullet, and we like to rig them on a 7/0 to 9/0 VMC 7385 circle hook. You want to tie this to a piece of 80-pound test suffix fluorocarbon leader, and that'll keep you from getting cut off. And I tell you what, it'll make that battle of strength between you and one of the ocean's elite game fish last that much longer. Now, anglers that have caught tarpon before are, you know, they know what it's about. But anglers that have not caught tarpon before, you really need to prepare for a slugfest. I would recommend a routine very similar to the one that Rocky Balboa went through before he fought Apollo Creed the first time. You can skip that whole chicken chasing part if you want to, but the rest of that routine is going to get you in a good enough shape that you're going to be ready for a tarpon fight. Now, our average beach tarpon is 75 to 130 pounds, but we get fish well in excess of 160 on a regular basis. The second species this week is going to be our dolphin. Now, the rest of the regions to the south of me have started to see some pretty good dolphins show up, and we're getting ready to start to see some show up as well. We're starting to get some of those mid-teen to mid-20-pound class fish, and they're starting at about 140 feet of water outside of Sebastian, and you can find them out as far as 350 or 400 feet, or if you go to the other side of the stream, you can find them there as well. You want to concentrate around the weed lines, temperature breaks, and color changes on this side of the stream, especially where you find flying fish or any other kind of bait fish. And the temperature that we like to look for is 75 to 78 degrees, and that's where you want to troll those skirted ballyhoo or any of those other fish, you know, species or types of bait fish species that you can pull with a skirt on it. Now, swinging inshore, snook are still making really strong headlines this week throughout my region, and Ponce, Canaveral, and Sebastian are all great places to use pilchards or croakers or some of those 5 to 7 inch mullet that are going to start showing up on our spring run during the daytime and nighttime hours. Now, anglers exclusively fishing at night a lot of times can catch them on the Rapala X-Wraps and the Rapala long cast lures that look like an X-Wrap but give you a little more distance and a little more depth if you're fishing some of those deeper areas. Flare hawk jigs and storm swim baits are always good options for anglers that are fishing at night as well. But if you're fishing in the daytime and you don't want to get out in the inlets, docks and mangrove-covered shorelines between Vero Beach and Grant are really good right now, and also Oak Hill through New Smyrna. Now, the fish down to the south, that Vero Beach through Grant area, you're going to want to fish live finger mullet, live pilchards, and greenies. Mahara will work as well. The fish to the north, you're going to want to fish live shrimp. They seem to be fish keying in on that live shrimp run that's going on at Oak Hill right now. Most of our snook are running about 24 to 36 inches at this time. And I've got one of those fish that Carl Rosa found here recently down in the south part of my region. You can see there's a couple little ones cruising around out there.
He looks so happy.
That's a stud there, dude.
I would be too.
Wow.
So cute.
All right, tell me what you got, speckled perch?
Well, perch would be nice, but we got trout because they got teeth, and you know how I like my teeth.
I know, I was checking you.
I'm liking when they dig into my saltwater assassins is what I really like, Rick. But I tell you what, we've been throwing those soft plastics that I just talked about. The Gold Pepper Shiner 5-inch shad assassins working really well right now, as well as a lot of the new soft plastics that Robin and the group have come out with. That salty snack is a really, really good trout bait as well. And of course, our old standby, a Rapala skitter walk. Most of our fish are running in the 5 to 10 pound class, especially in the south end of the Mosquito Lagoon. We still are getting big, big fish down there, but there's a lot of big fish in that Vero, Malabar, even up into the Banana River. We're starting to see some bigger fish right now, which is a good sign. We're seeing that the health of this area is starting to come back. So if you guys and gals get out there, try some of those plugs we talked about, or live pilchards or live finger mullet, and you can get a couple of really nice trout. Now, I've got one last photo here. Captain Scott McCalla, as you guys have seen on the show so far this year, he's been on a couple of the shows. Show 5 is no different. Scott McCalla is consistently putting his clients on big fish. And, of course, this is a really, really nice one that they caught on fly, one of those gators up in the Mosquito Lagoon here this past week.
So, Jimmy, I got a quick question for you. You know, last year we had epic amount of rain, which I think a lot of the fertilizer that people put on their lawns ended up in those lagoons as well as rivers. So this year we haven't had much rain. Do you think that's one of the reasons why the water's cleaning up?
That's a huge part of it, Rick. The intrusion of the nitrogen through lawn fertilizers and other things of that nature get washed in with those rains. And so we haven't had them. The water stayed clean. The bait fish are there. The predator fish are showing back up. If we can get everybody to continue to ease up on their nitrogen feed into the lagoon system, we're going to see this lagoon do better and better.
That's some great advice. Look forward to hearing about what's happening in the Central East region. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central East region. Captain Jim says offshore, we want to go dolphin fishing on the western edge of the Gulf Stream. Troll ballyhoo near the rips and weeds and other distinguishable features. And then inshore redfish, Ponce Inlet jetties for giant redfish. Use live pilchards, greenies, or pinfish with just enough weight to keep them from snagging the rocks.
Well, we are just about fished out here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Just kidding, we're never fished out, but the reports are in and we want you to hang out just a little longer so we can tell you what we're getting into next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
That's
fished
right.
out. What?
Come on.
This is the Silverado Special Edition.
This is one gorgeous truck.
Oh, did I say there was only one special edition? Because actually there's 5.
Nice. Strength and style.
Make a strong decision. Find your tag and get 16% below MSRP on select Silverado 1500 pickups in stock. That's over $7,900 on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha VMAX SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. VMAX SHO. The pack is growing.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Next week, we are talking bait, so make sure you tune in.
Theme.
The theme species
Bait.
is bait. Everyone needs bait. Come on, come on. What?
We got some dead bait
Got
over
some
there.
dead bait over there. All right, and if you would like to be a part of our live studio audience, you can go to ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com to get those tickets. It's more just like signing up. It's always a fun time.
I would come to that one versus the dead audience.
What?
If you don't want to come to the dead audience. You got to come to the live audience.
Good one, Dave.
Yeah.
You've been caught on to that before.
Yeah, that's right.
Every week.
Yeah.
Guys, come to our audience. It's a lot of fun. We have lots of giveaways, and we play games and do the wave. It's a great thing. So, Rick, Sailfish tournament in the Keys, you want to talk about it?
So the
'Cause you did pretty
final
well.
sail, Key West, you know, after day one, we were in 10th place. We were 4 fish behind old number 7. Congratulations, guys, you won. Then the second day, we even fell to 14th place. We only caught 5, and everybody else kind of went. But here's the cool thing about fishing professional sailfish tournaments in the Calcuttas.
Dailies.
Yes.
Day 3, we outfished everybody. We caught 8. Old number 7 caught 8, but we beat them on time. So guess how much that was, Mama?
How much was that?
That was a $97,000 payday. Now I'm talking about we don't have to eat at McDonald's today.
Happy birthday, Molly Moo, by the way.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday,
birthday,
Moo.
Molly Moo's 11 years old.
Hey, thank you guys
All
so
right,
much.
We'll see you guys next week. Talking bait.
That's
All
right.
about that
Bye-bye.
bait. About the bait. No trouble. Woo.